What's up everyone? Yeah, I know, I'm super late posting this video. Like, Chaos is literally coming in about a week. I was actually planning to drop this on June 11th, but trust me, there is a very good reason for this delay. I spent an ungodly amount of time testing every single mob morph and grinding for the absolute perfect gear. I mean, I rolled a cartridge with a 40% crit rate. By the time I finally finished cooking, I look at a calendar and, well, my bad. Anyways, with Chaos right around the corner, is Lacrimosa still with your hard-earned pulls? So here is my ultimate guide for her, covering everything. How to play her, skill upgrade priorities, recommended morph, stats, weapons, cartridges, modules, team comps, and awakenings. And now I have a few more. And finally, I will give you my definitive answer on whether you should pull for Lacrimosa or save for the upcoming characters. This is Lacrimosa, a Chaos Element attacker. What makes her unique is that her normal attacks have two different stances, ranged and melee. In the Tomato Meal mode, she used Frying Pan to deal melee damage, and in the Tomato Percussion mode, she used Red Jellies to deal mid-range damage. To switch between these modes, you just need to press the aim button. She completely resolves applying DA, meaning damage over time, stacks. These stacks are called Nightmare and can stack up to maximum of 10. To build these stacks, you just need to spam your basic attacks. You simply apply these effects, stand back, and watch the enemies melt away. And because of her dual stances, she has two different ultimate abilities. This pretty much gives her insane flexibility depending on whether you need a massive area damage or a single target nuke. I mean, while both deal AoE damage, I highly recommend using the Tomato Meal ultimate to burst down a single priority target and the Tomato Percussion ultimate for a wide area crowd control. Next is her skill. Her skill, Morning Tomato, inflicts Nightmare on all targets within range. You can seamlessly combo this into the final hit of both basic attack strings for faster burst damage. Best part, her morph ability. Hold the basic attack button to enter the aim mode. If the target reticle turns into a bat shape, it means you can steal their skill. If you see a cross, it can't be copied. When you shoot an enemy that you can copy, her skill permanently transforms into Devilish Gift, letting you use that learned technique. You can freely swap these out by learning new ones or manually forget a technique in the skills page to get Morning Tomato back. It's so fun and honestly, absolutely broken. And here are the top recommended morphs. First up is Tomato Devil, which you should have from the start. It fires a barrage of strong homing bullets. Next is Black Tome. She performs a wide, double sweeping chain attack that deals heavy damage. Then there's Headless Rider, which unleashes a lightning-fast, omnidirectional strike. The Nestbound Bird roars, dealing damage and knocking back most of the enemies. Even though it's not from a boss enemy, Cursed Blade is top tier. Activating it makes her hold up a katana. It deals no damage, but automatically blocks and counters the next incoming attack, even unparryable ones. It's an incredible defensive tool when you can't dodge in time. Then we have the never-ending Arachne, which unleashes a devastating slash that instantly wipes small mobs and shreds half of the health of anything it grazes. Two other situational picks. Debt Collector's Slash penetrates enemies, and Paper Squaredon's long attack juggles enemy in the air. There is nothing too crazy here, but here is your support skill. Yeah, that's about it. For the passives, when the Discord reaction occurs on a broken enemy, Lacrimosa deals extra damage equals to 4 times of her base attack. Also, when Lacrimosa lands 5 basic attacks during her skill cooldown, she gets to use 1 free morning tomato. This can actually be a bit tricky to manage because it temporarily overrides your devilish gifts during the cooldown. Oh yes, and just remember, this free skill only triggers once per cooldown cycle. For her character traits, if you hold your dash button out of combat, Lacrimosa turns into a bat and flies. It drains stamina pretty fast, so keep an eye on your meter. You can team her up with Baitan with his second passive unlocked, and if you switch to him while in a bat form, he'll perform massively. This is super useful when you don't quite have the stamina to reach high places. Also, for some reason, her bat form can literally just phase through lasers in the pink op bat haste. I guess Lacrimosa just loves the number 2. She has 2 basic attacks, 2 skills, 2 ultimates, 2 passives, and 2 life skill. Hada really loves her. Her first life skill increases dish prices and reduces ingredient consumption. She also adds a new high-priced dish, tomato juice, to the owner's section, which is literally just pouring juice into the glass. Isn't it a bit pricey considering how it's easy to make? Well, at least better than Baitan and Nanali, where customers pay you to hit them with a 100-ton hammer. Her second passive increases the funds and pink ball coins earned from the bank haste. Like, how does this even work? Lacrimosa is a frontline DPS, so you just need to keep punching. The core combo is use your skill, deal 5 basic attacks, use your free morning tomato, and keep punching until your main skill cooldown resets. Just rinse and repeat. As a pro tip, swap your stances depending on whether you need melee or ranged basics and single target or AoE ultimates. Also, actively swap your devilish gift skills based on the situation. For example, if a heavy attack is coming that you can't parry or dodge, switch to the crisp blade to block and counter it. For stats, you want your crit rate and crit damage to be as high as possible. Focus on maximizing your total crit value. If you're equipping a weapon that gives massive crit damage, like her signature, it's actually better to prioritize a higher crit rate module even if the one paper math looks slightly lower. Consistently is key here. For weapons, her signature is undeniably best in slot. It permanently increases her crit rate and attack and grants a stacking crit damage buff up to 10 stacks every time she deals dot damage or instantly max out just by using her skill. It even extends the enemy's broken state by 3 seconds when she damages them. The effects are totally busted, and since it provides so much crit damage, I highly recommend building your crit rate as close to 100% as possible. This makes farming gears much less painful. If you don't have it, I recommend the weapon you get for free by defeating the Black Tome for the first time. You'll need to balance your team with Break and Esper Cycle reactions to match this arc, but it's incredibly strong in a Discord reaction team and especially the Lacrimosa have the A6 effect. Alternatively, you can use Fluff of Fleetness from the paid battle pass. It increases attack every second she is on the field. Since she stays on the front line for well over 5 seconds, she easily maxes this out. If you're completely free to play, and any of these A-rank weapons from the gacha or shop will get the job done. If you are a completely free to play, any of these 3 weapons from the gacha or shop will get the job done. For cartridges and modules, aim for a high damage percent and crit stats. The absolute best cartridge is Diablos. It gives a 10% chaos damage buffs and makes you ignore 12% of enemies' chaos resistance. It also grants 12% extra resistance for 20 seconds after participating in Nova or Scorch reactions. The Chaos Resistance Ignore is amazing against bosses, though less impactful against normal mobs. Still, it fits perfectly with her A6 playstyle. If you're running a Discord team, have her A6 effect, but lack a good Diablos, Quiet Manor is great alternative because it vastly boosts mental damage with scales Discord reactions. If you don't have anything either, Shadow Creed is a solid versatile placeholder. For team comps, you generally want Lacrimosa as your main DPS, an incantation character for reactions, a side character or a flick support in the first slot, and a dedicated support in the fourth. My go-to Scorch team features Python for Scorch reaction and executing enemies, Fadia for damage reflection and max HP reduction, and Zachary for crowd control, Scorch, dot buffs, and an attack boost if you have her A4. You can switch Zachary for Haniel if you don't have her. Next is the Discord team, which shreds the bosses. It uses Daffodil for burst and Discord enhancement, Zachary for Scorch and buffs, and Haniel for extra damage and Nova reaction. For a more free-to-play friendly setup, run Adler for Scorch and shields, alongside Haniel for Nova reactions. As a meme, the full ETD4 members team is actually surprisingly viable somehow. For open world exploration, Lacrimosa to fly, Nanolate to wall run, Hay4 for gliding, and Byton for giant leaps. For the bank haste, Lacrimosa to ignore lasers and boost coins, Chiz because her passive highlights items, Hotori to freeze the timer, and Hay4 for mob cleaning. And for the owner selection, Lacrimosa's tomato juice prints money, so pair her with Byton and Natalie to just smack customers with a hammer and farm fonts. Let's talk about awakenings. A1 buffs Nightmare's dot damage. A2 boosts her overall damage after entering the field with a support skill. A3 forces all Nightmare stacks to detonate on the final hit of her basic attack combo, preventing stack loss if an enemy heals. A4 doubles Nightmare's duration to 6 seconds, technically doubling the damage. A5 reduces the enemy's max HP based on Nightmare's damage and gives Lacrimosa lifesteal. It also makes Nightmare stacks immune to being cleansed by enemy healing, somewhat reducing the need for A3. Finally, the highly discussed A6. After using Devilish Gift, if you swap to a character that can trigger a reaction with Lacrimosa and swap back to her within 5 seconds, she completely ignores the cycle meter and instantly triggers a reaction. If you have her A6, here is your optimized combo. It's actually quite simple. Equip a high damage morph skill with a longer animation like Black Tome, Tomato Devil, or Never Ending Arachne. Cast the skill immediately, swap back to your incantation character or psych character. Use their abilities, and swap back to Lacrimosa within 5 seconds just as her animation finishes. Then start spamming basic attacks, weave in your free morning tomato, and keep punching until the cooldown resets. This combo is absolutely devastating if you also have her A2 unlocked. For Resonance, the 3 Awakening bonus reduces flying stamina cost by 50% and adds 1 level to her basic attack, skill, and ultimate. The 6 Awakening bonus reduces flying stamina by another 50% and lets her ignore 20% of all enemy defense, which is god tier against bosses. Looking at the next 3 banners, Chaos is a frontline Lakshana DPS. He can place teleporters around the map and warp to them. Sounds cool, but practically, you can already fast travel to most of the important places. Rumors say Shinku will be a Cosmos Burst DPS and Iori will be an Anima healer. Since Edgar is currently our only healer, saving for Iori is tempting. However, Iori is expected in the second half at 1.2, giving you plenty of time to save up any lives and dies. Because Lacrimosa is just undeniably overpowered in every game mode, my final verdict is, you should absolutely pull for Lacrimosa. And that completely wrapped up the Ultimate Lacrimosa guide. My brain is officially fired from all the testing and editing. If this video helped you out or saved you some time, please smash that like button and subscribe. I'm grinding hard on the road to 300 subscribers by August, and every single one of you makes a massive difference. Before you go, let me know in the comments, are you pulling for the Tomato Queen or are you Diamond Hand saving for Chaos and 1.2 characters? I'll be hanging out on the rooftop and reading your replies. Thank you so much for waiting, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Assuming I wake up in peace.
起点ちゃんと見抜くから。